Very good morning to you. It is 7 a.m. Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Even nicer today than yesterday. Hazy sunshine, if you like heat, that is. Highs near 90 or around 90. Let's head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the first check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Michele.
Good morning to you, Ken. The humidity is palpable when you step outside this morning. You take a little stroll and you will notice not only the thicker air, but also air that is a little more polluted than usual. And that is because of the wildfire smoke that we've been talking about since yesterday, so much so that the Department of Environmental Protection put out an air quality watch through midnight tonight for all the counties shaded in orange. Note, mostly the counties along the most urban areas, because this is influenced by heat as well as the particulate matter and in those urban areas. So with an air forecast air quality index above 100, remember how yesterday I said 100 is kind of the safety threshold? Above 100, not dangerous, but need to be more concerned if you're an asthma sufferer or have maybe respiratory sensitivities. In this area here, from Morristown, excuse me, down toward Flemington and Burlington County, even over toward Trenton and down by Mount Holly, you'll see these numbers climb even up through Hackensack and Bergen County up toward 99. Anytime you get over 150, more people tend to be sensitive. So definitely not as clear of an air as yesterday, with that temperature starting off much milder with some extra humidity. 61 right now in Newark, 59 down the shore. We're running about 2 to 4 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, and there's more humidity in the air. The dew points are a few degrees higher than they were yesterday. The winds will be light today, predominantly blowing from the south right now and through this afternoon from the south and southeast. So the coastal locations tap into a little bit more of a clearer air, but by this afternoon, especially into tomorrow, that south and southwesterly breeze takes over. And that's really what pumps in some more heat and humidity through the afternoon into Friday, which brings up the humidity through the next several days. So those wildfires still going strong. You see these dark plumes of smoke here being picked up on the satellites. Most of it headed down from the north now, since those winds are changing direction and pushing in across New Jersey from the north and northwest. So today, the northwestern counties have poorer air quality as opposed to yesterday, where it was mostly along the coastline. Here's the futurecast showing those breezes coming in from the south, with the highs today up around 90. It'll feel very warm and humid. We start off tomorrow in the upper 60s and low 70s. Could get to 94 in Newark and Hackensack by the afternoon, 90 in Camden, 92 in Trenton. Really hot, hazy, and humid for your Thursday. Friday sees more clouds throughout the afternoon, and with that, it'll still be very steamy. 91 in Newark, 90 in Trenton, and even 85 in Mount Holly. Cooler at the coast, but those clouds will keep things, I think, a little bit cooler by the end of the day, even though it'll seem muggy. Then we head into Saturday, and that's when our chances of rain go up. Friday night into Saturday, looking pretty wet, with temperatures that only climb into the upper 70s. So a little bit of a change with our weather for Saturday, looking more and more wet, but at least I think Sunday we can still salvage, Ken, with a refreshing breeze and lots of sun to finish the weekend. We'll detail that coming up.
Summer breeze makes me feel fine,
Well,
going through
somebody
the
had the
jasmine
espresso this
in my
morning.
mind. That's my opera man voice. I don't know if you knew that I had that. That's a little character deep in the recesses of my skull, and it just pops out every now and then. Just a warning, so that we could all be medicated in advance. Thank you, Mike. All right, we'll check back with you, buddy. It's 7:04. We do have some issues to tell you about right now. We have a crash and a down pole on Corbin Street, both directions north of Kellogg Street. This is in Newark. All lanes are closed and being detoured northbound and southbound on side streets. So just beware of that. Again, that is in Newark on down pole on Corbin Street, both directions north of Kellogg Street in Newark. Disabled truck on the Jersey Turnpike Western Spur northbound, just south of interchange 16W in East Rutherford with the right lane blocked. And we have issues on the Garden State Parkway with a crash right now southbound, south of exit 140, which is Union Township. All lanes are open, though, just causing some real slowdowns through there. We have a crash investigation on 1 and 9 Tennelly Avenue northbound, south of 495 Route 3 in North Bergen Township. All lanes are closed, so if you're trying to get to Route 3 from that approach, that is a mess right now. Again, crash investigation, 1 and 9 Tennelly Avenue, northbound, south of 495 Route 3. in North Bergen. And we have a crash investigation separately on Route 9 northbound, north of Route 35 in South Amboy, with all lanes closed. Roving repairs on Route 130 northbound from Cooper Street in Willingboro Township to Florence Columbus Road in Mansfield Township, with the left lane closed. And we have roving repairs also on Route 35 northbound from Route 36 in Eatontown to Broadway in Keyport, with the right lane closed right now. 20 minutes through the Lincoln, only 15 minutes through the Holland. Let's take a look at the 8095 approach, if we could, to the GWB. And that is not bad, my friends. Right there, I don't know what's going on in that leftmost lane there. Is that a bus only lane or something? I don't know what's going on there. That's the lower level. But, okay, it's moving now. There might have been some kind of a holdup at the toll booth. But you can see it's just crawling along. But try to take the upper. The upper looks like it's a little better than the lower right now. That's about a 20 to 25-minute delay into Manhattan. Not bad at all. 7:06, a New Jersey State Police detective has been indicted in the 2023 death of a New York motorcyclist. Detective Mark Campagna faces charges of endangering another person, a fourth-degree crime, after allegedly following 24-year-old Omar Kababi at high speeds for 3 miles without activating his unmarked vehicle's lights or sirens. Kababi crashed into an oncoming car on Route 206 in Burlington County and died at the scene. Attorney General Matt Platkin says the charge holds Campagna accountable for endangering Kababi and others on the road. The case was presented to a grand jury as required by New Jersey state law for deaths involving law enforcement. In Cherry Hill, a 27-year-old man, Christian Custodio Aquino, will remain in prison awaiting trial for the stabbing death of veterinarian Dr. Michael Anthony. The 45-year-old was found dead outside his home in December. Custodio Aquino, charged with first-degree murder, was arrested in California in February by U.S. Marshals. He appeared before a judge Tuesday for a detention hearing. A new public brawl law signed by Governor Phil Murphy targets those who incite public fights with penalties of up to 18 months in prison. So you know that guy who says, kick his butt, kick his butt. That is the public brawl law violation. The law follows incidents like last year's Gloucester Township Day, where 500 teens brawled, injuring 3 police officers, and also recent violence in Seaside Heights and Mays Landing that just happened in the last couple of weeks. Lawmakers say it is needed to ensure that families feel safe at public events. Police hope the threat of jail time deters future chaos. Right now, people who do that, who incite violence by shouting that out, have been defending themselves, saying freedom of speech. Likely, if this law does pass, somebody will challenge it to the Supreme Court. It'll probably be overturned. But for now, it is something that local law enforcement and local public officials are saying we need. 7:08, and Gloucester Township Police are seeking 2 suspects caught on video shoplifting at a Target in Sicklerville on May 31st. The unidentified man and woman entered the store on Berlin Crosskey Road, with the woman concealing over $250 in merchandise in a reusable bag while the man kept watch. They fled in a white SUV after ignoring the store's loss prevention team. Police are asking for help in identifying them. Remember when there was a rule under the Biden administration, when things were a little bit more liberal, let people shoplift up to $1,000. That isn't the case anymore. So if you're still under that misinterpretation of the law, you will now be arrested if you shoplift, period. Could be $1. In Toms River, a controversial plan to seize Christ Episcopal Church's property for a waterfront park has sparked outrage. Thousands have signed a petition to save the church's 11-acre site, and a GoFundMe has been launched to fight the township's eminent domain ordinance. As ONNJ Sean Trunk shows us, the church, which proposed a 17-bed homeless shelter, the first in Ocean County, claims the move is retaliation.
Can I get some control of the room, please? You do not have the floor. Next speaker, please. Thank you. We have this person, please exit the meeting. He's interrupting. I can't get a vote either. You are to leave the room. You are to leave the room.
This is the current state of Toms River Council meetings. Screaming, civil disobedience, and a full house. Most people are here for one reason, to express their disapproval of the mayor's plan to use eminent domain on the Christ Episcopal Church in order to create a public park. This news came shortly after the almost 160-year-old church had announced a plan to create a 17-bed shelter on their property.
These places that we go to, 405, these churches, that's where our resources are.
Also on the grounds is a memorial garden where 325 souls are buried.
I am struggling to understand why it is important to seize the land currently occupied by a church for recreation purposes when there's already land ready to accommodate it.
To some, the plans to use eminent domain seem like retaliation from the mayor. In response, Mayor Roderick told the Toms River Times that it's been over a year in the making.
We have a planner's report that's pretty clear that there isn't a playground anywhere in the area and that there are about 20,000 residents in the area. The major component, which is the idea that children need a playground downtown.
Has anybody asked the 20,000 residents if they'd rather have the church or a park? I guarantee not one. Not one. Another 20,000.
As of our reporting, a petition from change.org in order to prevent the use of eminent domain has over 8,400 signatures. Voting to use eminent domain has been pushed back to July 30th, and until then, this seems like the council's new status quo.
Oh, wow, Justin, you do that so well.
From ONNJ Jersey, I'm Sean Thrunk.
Nice job on that, Sean, rather. Let me just explain a little background there. The Episcopal, and I'm a former priest here, not for the Episcopal Church, but I'm a former priest. Many of the more traditional Protestant denominations, Episcopal, Methodist, Presbyterian, okay, they've seen their denominations drop in many areas to the point that, you know, except for the fact that their buildings have been paid off for 100 years, they would shut down because they don't have anyone coming anymore. It is what it is. Many of them have just gotten very liberal, and the Protestants who used to go there feel like, why am I coming here? I don't agree with anything you're saying. More conservative churches, Catholic, Orthodox, even Mormon, Jehovah's, Pentecostal, evangelical, they have seen an explosion in growth. So that tells you where mindsets are. Liberals tend not to go to church. Conservatives tend to go to church. And this is what's happening. As those churches have embraced liberalism, people have said, bye-bye. So what does the church do now? In order to bring anybody in on a Sunday, that Episcopal church right on the Toms River, literally the most prime of prime real estate in Toms River, that was licensed as a church, zoned as a church. And so they don't pay any property taxes. If they had to pay property taxes, God knows the money that would go to the town. All right. So you are licensed, zoned as a church. You can't be an animal shelter. You can't be a hospital. You can't be a retail store. You are zoned as a church. If you want to be a homeless shelter, go somewhere else. That's what they're saying. So basically the town is saying, if you want to stay as a church, you can stay as a church. You want to force this homeless shelter thing and have to be rezoned as a homeless shelter? No, we're going to take you over. So I want to make sure that's perfectly clear. This isn't just some greedy town trying to take over that property. It's because they don't want a homeless shelter where their kids go to school, because people, many of the homeless are psychologically challenged, shooting up, doing heroin outside. They're an element that they don't want in the downtown. So I want to make sure that's perfectly clear. This isn't just a greedy town trying to take over the property and put something nice up and kick out a church. Case closed. You disagree? Give me a call. 800. We have a number right here. You can call. All right, anytime. We'll take your call right here anytime. It is now 7:13. Excuse me as I lose my train of thought. New Jersey's paychecks pack a punch. By the way, a new Wallet Hub study ranks the Garden State second in the nation for income in 2025. The top 5% here earn an average of $522,000+. That's fourth highest in the U.S., while the median income is $122,447. That's sixth overall for median income in the whole country. However, the bottom 20% earn only $17,083 annually. Virginia took the top spot of wealthiest earners, with Pennsylvania and Delaware trailing at 18th and 26th. Virginia always gets number one, by the way. You'd say, why Virginia? Suburbs of Washington, D.C. You have people who are contractors with the U.S. government getting hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts. And they all live right outside of D.C. in Northern Virginia. And those are the libs, the most liberal of libs who live there. The head of United Airlines says Garden Staters looking for travel bargains this summer should fly through Newark Airport. So all those people who thought, oh, this is a problem, we're not going to do that. It's okay. Think again. United CEO Scott Kirby recently highlighted upcoming lower airline prices, alluding to a May 20th order from the FAA that temporarily reduced the arrival and departure rates of planes at Newark, making the airport less crowded and dropping the demand for flights. Kirby also noted that flights will run much more smoothly now that a series of issues plaguing Newark throughout April and May, from technology problems to a shortage of air traffic controllers and construction plans that closed one of those 3 airport runways for weeks, has been solved. At least that has. They've opened that runway 13 days early. The airline boss predicts that Newark Liberty will be the most reliable of the area's 3 major airports this summer because of those changes. And summertime weather's here, and that means more time in the backyard. A lot of people spend their evenings around fire pits, but listen carefully. This is what happened to one New Jersey family. Now, this is not the fire pit that we're talking about, but I just want to show you how out of control a fire pit can get. People put tons of fire starter on, and look what happens. So a family in New Jersey had injuries. A 10-year-old girl and another person got serious injuries, while 4 others were burned in an accident involving their fire pit table at a gathering in Cherry Hill. Several people had their clothing catch fire. The injuries of 2 of the people considered potentially life-threatening. So if you have a fire pit and you want to enjoy it, and you should, just don't go crazy with fire starter and things like that, because that could happen. It could get out of control. How much does your school district superintendent make? Apparently a lot. It seems New Jersey superintendents took home an average salary of about $200,000 during the most recent school year. Statewide, the average superintendent salary rose 2% in 2024-25 compared to the previous year, when the average superintendent then made $194,000. There are 521 full-time school superintendents in the state of New Jersey, something we need to reconsider. In the state of Florida, they have regional superintendents. They only have like 10 or 15 in the whole state. So do we really need to be paying 521 people $250,000 a year when you could pay 20 people to do the same? Got to think about that. On top of that, New Jersey is notorious for having like 10 assistant principals per school, when other schools have a principal and an assistant principal, and they make it run. Catholic schools, Christian schools, that's the way they do it. 716, have you heard of the Chromebook challenge? This is dangerous. School districts throughout the country are warning students against attempting the dangerous TikTok trend because it could cause serious injury and damage to school property. It's also known as the Chromebook durability test. The trend involves kids shoving paper clips or other metal things into the USB port of their school-based laptops. Remember, it was during COVID they got the Chromebooks for free to use. So the kids being kids, they shove metal stuff in there to try to make that happen. But it can cause a fire, injure them, damage the property. So don't do that. Tell your kids not to. The website for Garfield Schools actually posted a warning about the challenge, and parents are being urged to warn their kids against it. And a man has been indicted on first-degree murder charges after officials say he killed his Camden County girlfriend and stored her remains in a refrigerator, then took that refrigerator and dumped it in a southern New Jersey wooded area. Investigators found it there. They believe the woman was killed about 5 months ago, and that refrigerator has been sitting there ever since. Christopher Ryan Blevins, according to officials, was arrested about a month after 50-year-old Laura Hughes' body was found in Belle Plaine State Forest. Both Hughes and Blevins are from Runnymede. On May 21st, Blevins was indicted for the killing. He was also charged with desecrating human remains. Officials say Blevins traveled across North America after the murder, even briefly staying in Mexico before coming back to the U.S., where he was arrested. And yesterday, Newark Mayor Ras Baraka sued federal officials for false arrest and malicious prosecution following his arrest last month outside an immigrant detention center on a trespassing charge. That charge was later dismissed. The suit names acting U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba, and Ricky Patel, the special agent in charge of the Newark Division of Homeland Security Investigations, accusing the duo of defaming Baraka on social media before the trespassing charge was dismissed. It'll likely be dismissed down the line because federal agents like this and federal officials are protected from people charging them when they're doing their jobs. Baraka is saying they didn't do their jobs. They used lawfare. Hey, Democrats, you've been using lawfare for about 5 years. How do you like it? Baraka is a Democratic candidate, of course, for governor in next Tuesday's primary. And Hoboken has announced plans to follow a lawsuit against the FAA for what it calls dangerous helicopter activity. Mayor Ravi Bala says the people living in Hoboken are fed up with the constant noise and safety risks caused by overhead tourist helicopters. The suit comes on the heels of a crash involving a sightseeing helicopter that went down in the Hudson River near Jersey City April 10th. All 6 on board were killed. Finally, imagine showing up for high school and being mugged in the parking lot. That is what happened to one student in Maplewood Monday morning. It happened at Columbia High School West Parker Avenue student parking lot. Police say an adult male student was approached by 3 young men wearing ski masks and dark clothing. The 3 assaulted the teen, took his cash and book bag that contained his school laptop. Question is, where was school security? Kids coming to school should be thought to be safe, not attacked in the parking lot. 719. When we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. We'll be right back. 7:20. Welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings for your Wednesday. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Hazy sunshine today, very summer-like, a little more humid. Highs around 90. Here's meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Mike?
Good morning, Ken. Did you see that sunset last night? The pretty
Yes,
orangey color.
orangey
That,
red. That's all the dust in
yeah,
the air?
that was the smoke
Smoke.
particles in the air, all from Canada, coming right over New Jersey. And that's what's happening again today, especially with the poor air quality and the alerts
Mhm.
that have popped up that you see behind me. So the air quality advisory throughout this afternoon for some pretty poor air quality, especially in the northwestern corner of the state. It's all these counties shaded in orange. The air quality index level is 102. Again, above 100, you get it into that unhealthy for sensitive groups, those that have respiratory issues, but we're not at that unhealthy or very unhealthy level. So working its way up, and that's what you see here from Flemington to Morristown, Newark, and Hackensack, all around 100. A little bit of a sea breeze coming in from the south, keeping the coastal locations with slightly better air quality. But again, the origin of that smoke right up there at those Canadian wildfires coming right down from Canada across New York and Pennsylvania here into New Jersey today. So with our forecast looking clear through this afternoon, lots of sunshine, you will notice that kind of whitish appearance to the sky, not that usual deep shade of blue, not only due to the humidity, but also the particulates in the air reflecting some of that sunlight and making it look a little whitish in our sky. 88 in Trenton today, 87 in Princeton, steamy with the high humidity. The pollen is back, of course. We're in the midst of grass and weeds season, as tree pollen season is pretty much over, and the molds are lower thanks to the dry weather that we'll enjoy. Here's some wet weather that's moving in from the west. It doesn't arrive until later Thursday into Friday, predominantly Friday night. So enjoy all the sunshine until then. UV index is at an 8, which is high, or excuse me, very high, brings back lots of sunshine just like yesterday. So again, we're clear for today. Lots of sunshine over throughout today and tomorrow, but it's that southwesterly breeze in advance of the front that will make it feel quite humid with the humidity rising over the next several days. We get into the 90s today. We're kind of humid and muggy tonight, and then tomorrow afternoon climbing once more into the 90s with that southerly breeze, a little bit cooler at the coast thanks to that wind off of the water. By Friday afternoon, clouds return, not completely overcast, but more clouds than sun, I think, especially later in the day, and you'll really see this map go green by the time we get to Thursday with those dew points in the 60s, maybe even approaching 70 in parts of New Jersey by Friday afternoon. There you go, 68 degree dew point in Sussex. That's almost tropical. So very, very humid weather to start off our weekend, leading to a pretty wet start to the weekend. Here's our futurecast for Friday night, showing the rain moving in from the west. It arrives in New Jersey by daybreak on Saturday, and then those shades of green and yellow move across the state. So it's going to be a pretty wet day with the showers timed out for the middle of the day into the early afternoon. And that takes us into Saturday night. I think Sunday ultimately clears us out with nice dry weather to start off next week. Monday looks beautiful. And then by Tuesday and Wednesday could have a few more clouds and showers in the forecast. Not widespread, maybe isolated, but ultimately it clears for a very pretty Thursday into Friday of next week. So while this weekend starts off very wet, I think we still salvage Sunday with mostly sunny skies, 79 degrees. The second half of the weekend looking fantastic, but definitely indoor plans for Saturday, Ken. It's going to be a pretty rainy day.
Got to pay for the sunshine somehow. Thank you, Mike. 7:24 right now, 56 degrees, and we do have a lot of traffic this morning. Disabled vehicle right now, the Garden State Parkway Express lanes northbound south of the GSP John Bon Jovi service area in Sayreville with the right lane blocked. We have a crash on 280 eastbound east of exit 13 Orange Street in Newark with the left lane of the two lanes closed. Taking a look at the 8095 approach to the GWB right now, it's actually moving. That's not so bad. That's about a 30-minute in time. A little bit better on the lower level on the left than the upper level on the right, but that's about 30 minutes in. We have 20 minutes at the Lincoln and only 15 to 20 at the Holland. 7:24 is our time. Time for politics from Trenton, explained like nobody else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Edge. It is Wednesday, June 4th, and it took just a few hours into the first day of early voting for the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission to have possibly disenfranchised voters again. A woman from Somerset County stood up for herself on Tuesday. She appeared before a Superior Court judge to fight for her right to vote, as she should. And amazingly, she got turned away. Here's what happened. The voter told the judge, Wendy Allison Reek, that she was a registered Democrat, that she voted in the 24 Democratic primary, that she believed herself to be a Democrat, and she wanted to vote in this year's Democratic primary. But a trip to the DMV to get a real ID and to change her name rendered her ineligible to vote this month. Uh, During the process, she said she checked off a box that she was a registered voter. She said she thought she clicked the box indicating that she was a Democrat. She said maybe she didn't. She doesn't remember. It was a long day at the DMV. But the Department of Motor Vehicles, or whatever they're calling themselves this week, and we know how incredibly reliable they are, the DMV claims that the woman instead checked the box, changing her party affiliation from Democrat to unaffiliated. Now, this happened on May 14th, nearly a month after the statutory deadline to change party affiliation. So the deputy attorney general, a guy who doesn't usually handle election matters, he told the judge that by her changing her registration status to unaffiliated after the change deadline left her ineligible to vote at all. Judge Reek agreed and refused to allow the woman to vote. And it seems there's not a deadline to unaffiliate, only a deadline to affiliate. And I should point out that this woman had no advocate in the courtroom. It was the judge, it was the deputy attorney general representing the Board of Elections, and it was this voter. Now, for better or for worse, the deal in New Jersey is that judges are instructed to interpret election laws liberally, except when it comes time to voting in elections. Then it seems that they suddenly flip into strict constructionist mode. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe it's not. If this woman wanted to be on the ballot, I think the judge would have said yes. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I've watched dozens and dozens of these kinds of hearings over the years, and probably more than the second-year judge and the this recently post-pubescent deputy attorney general. But I don't think there's any fraud here. It's a Democrat who wants to vote in a Democratic primary. There are judges up and down the state who would have granted her the right to vote under these identical circumstances. And then later on Monday, I learned of a Monmouth County voter also disenfranchised courtesy of the DMV. And the problem is that most voters don't speak up. Most voters are turned away and they go home. And everybody talks a real big game about protecting voting rights until it comes time to actually stand up and do so. Anyway, that's everything for today. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow.
All right. Thank you very much, David. Elon is pissed, and he is not taking it anymore. Yesterday, the former Doge head and billionaire owner of Tesla and social media platform X tweeted his displeasure. No, let's just say he's flat out pissed off at the Republican Party spending plan passed by the House and being worked on in the Senate. He called the spending bill massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending. Probably had some other choice words we can't say. Said it was a disgusting abomination. Then he said, quote, "Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." Think about it. The guy literally gave up his corporate status. All of his corporations, all the people in the center and the left abandoned him so that he could do Doge. And then what do the Republicans come around and do? And they're like, okay, all those spending cuts, we're going to replace all that money and then some. So literally the guy sacrificed his time and his businesses to try to solve a problem. And the Republicans, their thanks for it was middle finger. The White House says that they were aware of Musk's feelings, but say that the spending was necessary to get the bill through Congress. Bottom line, politicians can be whores. That's the bottom line. Sorry, politicians, but it's true. President Trump maintains his support for the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. And by the way, when I say politicians, I mean party affiliation aside, makes no difference. 7:30, and Ford Motor yesterday reported a 16.3% year-over-year U.S. sales increase for May as the automaker continues an employee pricing program amid rising tariff costs and vehicle price increases. Sales for the Detroit automaker were led by a 17.2% increase in purchases of the vehicles with traditional internal combustion engines, as well as a 29% jump in hybrid models. But those electric-only vehicles, not so much. They took a big tank, about 20 to 30% off. It is now 56 degrees at 7:30. When we come back, a New Jersey-based organization that's been making powerful strides in youth empowerment and tech education. Plus, the phone lines are open. We will take calls at 888-658-0234. Hazy, summery sunshine today, highs about 90. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in a moment. You're watching ONNJ Jersey Mornings, and we will be right back. It is 56 degrees at 7:31 on Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. By the way, I only give the year for those of you like me getting on in age who think, what year is this? It's more for me than for you, trust me. Hazy sunshine today, highs about 90. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the detailed Garden State forecast. Mike, trust me, wait till you get to be 58. You'll see what I'm talking
I
about.
do that when I write checks because I still write checks. And I'm like, is it really 2025? I have to think about this. Yeah, it's true.
I got news for you. I saw two stories on the wires in the last week, both of which had the wrong year. These are like AP and UPI stories on the
Wow.
wire. Both had the wrong year. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's sad when you have to look at your phone and it only gives you the date, the day, month and day. And you're like, you should really give the year too because you wake up.
Because of me.
You don't know
Because I'm
what day it
old.
is. You don't know what year it is. I know. Well, today may be a one to kind of get that refreshing feel, go for the walk, go for the stroll, because the weather will look fantastic through this afternoon. Despite a little bit of hazy sunshine and poor air quality, it's not all that bad because the humidity really builds in tomorrow with some steamy weather throughout the end of our week. The humidity really rising, so maybe head toward the beach to enjoy some of those cooler breezes off of the Atlantic. 76 degrees, that's cool by comparison, especially when you consider places like Hamilton, Millville, and Glassboro, even Camden, climbing to near 80 today with that lovely south and southwesterly breeze. We still have the smoke throughout this afternoon. The current look of the wildfire smoke has it all across New Jersey, originating there from Alberta and Saskatchewan. These are where the wildfires are currently burning. The thickest smoke over Canada, but a lot of those heavy particulates are coming right down through the Midwest, lowering our air quality all the way down into the unhealthy area. So that's that orangey peachish color here for northern New Jersey. We're up at 99, 108 there in Flemington. Throughout this afternoon, we'll just see the clear sky, albeit hazy at times with that smoke in the atmosphere. And then we get some rain to help rinse it away by the time we get to Friday night into Saturday. Friday night looking wet. Most of the day Friday, I think, is dry, just extra cloudy. And then with Saturday's rain that comes in, it's a pretty wet start to the weekend with an improvement thanks to the clearing that happens Sunday later in the morning. So current air quality now, not great, but not so good. It's kind of working back in through the smoke, rather, works back in this afternoon. With the high pressure that pushes in that air, I think we'll see a little bit more of a southwesterly breeze take over tomorrow as well as Friday, and that only brings in more heat and humidity. The front tries to push through on Friday night. It doesn't. Instead, the rain takes over, and then we have to wait until Saturday night for that front to clear us out, bringing back lots of sunshine by Sunday afternoon. So it'll take a few days to clear out, but when we do, by Sunday, it'll look very pretty. One day of rain, that's on Saturday. Maybe some showers coming in as early as Friday night. But until then, heat, haze, and humidity. Sunday cools down a little bit, 79 degrees. That's average with nice clear sky and lower humidity to start off next week. The beaches look pretty great, especially for Thursday and Friday. Highs in the mid-70s. Saturday, Also rainy most of the day. And then I think by Sunday and Monday, we clear things out and bring back temperatures in the upper 70s. So a little bit more heat and humidity away from the coast, but overall a very pleasant feeling like summer, Ken, until that rain takes over on Saturday.
Hey, listen, from the Doge department of ONNJ Jersey, the Doge
Hmm,
department says just for the summer to make life easier on Mike, so instead of saying hazy, hot, and humid all the time, just say H
sure.
cube. H cube. Okay, so just make
HQ.
note. That's one of the
Okay.
last H cubed. So that was one of the last things that
Cubed.
that
Yes.
Elon did before he left office. He
Okay.
said, "Tell Mike it's H cubed." Just
H
saying.
cubed. I'll take note. Thank you.
I'll go take my meds. Thank you, Mike. All right, it is 7:35 right now. We do have a lot of traffic to talk about. I wish I could do an H cube to this one. New Jersey Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound north of interchange 13A Newark Airport has a center lane block causing a lot of delays. Take a look at this traffic cam right now. This is the Garden State Parkway, mile marker 145.7. That's exit 144, which would be Vailsburg, Irvington. Just a lot of heavy traffic coming off right through the tolls. You can see that in that area. Oh, that's actually a pedestrian bridge. The tolls come up in about a mile from there, but that's really heavy at this hour. So that's an indication of the GSP in general when you see that. We have other issues as well. We have a disabled vehicle on the Garden State Express lanes south of the Garden State Parkway's John Bon Jovi service area in Sayreville with a right lane blocked, and a crash on 280 eastbound east of exit 13 Orange Street in Newark with the left lane closed. I have a crash investigation, Route 9 northbound, north of Route 35 in South Amboy with all lanes closed. And we have roving repairs, Route 35 northbound from Route 36 in Eatontown to Broadway in Keyport with the right lane of 2 lanes closed. Right now, we have 15 to 20 minutes into New York through the Holland Tunnel. We have 20 to 25 on the Lincoln, and this is the 8095 approach of the GWB. Not bad at all. This is about 25 to 30 minutes in. You see the upper level on the right, maybe a little better than the lower level on the left, but not the worst rides that you could have, or the worst ride, I should say. 7:37, and joining us this morning is Yenin Baker, who is the founder and CEO of Visionary Philanthropy Group. It's a New Jersey-based organization that has been making powerful strides in youth empowerment and tech education. Yenin was recently honored with the prestigious Russ Berry Making a Difference Award, recognizing extraordinary changemakers across the Garden State. From bringing New Jersey students to Google's campus in California and helping them access tech career certificates, Yenin's mission is all about opening doors, creating a bright future for people and their minds. And here now to share how it all started and where it's going next is Yenin. Thanks for joining us this morning. Good to have you on.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it. It's an honor, and this is a dream come true to be here on the set with you, seven-time Emmy Award winner. So,
Oh,
I'm privileged to be here. Thanks.
well, we're the privileged ones, believe me. And that was 100 years ago, back when Emmys meant something. They don't mean anything anymore, but you're very kind to say that. My mother thanks you for saying that, by the way, Yenin. So tell me, this is a big deal. And excuse I got rough making eggs yesterday. Excuse the risk. It just for sympathy. The Russ Berry Making a Difference Award is a big deal. And I love people who dream big and don't just dream and put it aside. You dreamed big and made it happen. That's exciting. You are an example for people. Tell us what it felt like when you found out you got the Russ Berry Making a Difference Award.
Ken, it felt so surreal. It was a dream come true. It was unexpected, So I just was in awe.
Mm-hmm. And you made a difference in a lot of lives. That's the thing. I mean, for so many kids, the difference between having a bright, successful future where they could open any door or being in jail is guidance. That's all it really just takes. Kids are like sponges, right? They'll take in guidance. And for too many kids, it's not fair. They don't have the guidance. And you're going out there and you're showing them there's a way. You brought New Jersey students all the way to the Google campus. That is a huge trip. What was that like to organize? And what were the reactions on those kids' faces when you told them?
Well, it was a lot of work, it was a lot of stress and pressure. Let me first and foremost, because the opportunity was given to me at the last minute. and I had less than 30 days to, recruit the students and make everything happen. Get the funding that came along with, organizing the trip, and everything that came along with it. So despite the pressure and organizing the trip, along with the help with my team, and other volunteers, I made it happen. But the day before the trip, I was up, almost all night, just sitting in waivers to Google and things like that. The last minute, Ken. So it was hectic. It was crunch time, but I made it happen. Well, me and my team made it happen, rather.
Right. That's the difference, though, between a great leader and just anybody. I mean, the fact that you got it done, that says everything. That's why you deserve that award. And what made you decide to focus on tech when you were coming into the job field, the job market? And how did that eventually evolve into the Visionary Philanthropy Group?
So the tech vision came. I was working in New Jersey at Amazon warehouse, and I got transferred to Amazon in Baltimore, Maryland. I moved to Owens Mills, Maryland, and I was working in Baltimore, Maryland. And there was an alleged tech career opportunity that Amazon had, and I'll tell you why I said alleged, because so there was a tech opportunity, so I applied for it, and I had to take a coding test first, right? So I failed that coding test with flying colors, and I said to myself, this is not no opportunity, and I said Amazon playing games, because if this was an opportunity, they would just give people the training, and then after they complete the training, then they would just give them that tech career opportunity, right? So I said, what? I'm going to go out and, create, because my nonprofit had started already, and it wasn't where it's at now. But I said, I'm going to go out and create as many tech partnerships as possible so I can, bring these tech opportunities to the underserved communities so that people, don't have to go through what I went through. So, that's what started the tech vision. And then the first night rather, that I started the research for my tech vision, I stumbled across the Google article, and the rest is history. I basically met my Google partner, Richard Ashe, the founder of Google Breakbeat Code, and the rest is history. That's how this whole tech vision came about.
And that's a big deal. The Google career certificates are very, very important, right? Because a lot of tech companies, they won't even talk to you unless you have a Google career certificate. So talk about the impact that those certificates have on a student's future.
So the Google Career Certificate scholarships, it's basically 7 different career pathways to employment: UX design, IT support, data analytics, cybersecurity, project management, digital marketing and e-commerce, and AI. Each certificate is equivalent up to 12 college credits. It's for ages 13 to any age of adult. Once the participant that's 18 years or older completes the certificate, Google gives them access to a consortium of over 150 Fortune 500 companies, and they help them find a job. And they have a success rate, a 75% success rate with that.
Wow. That's huge. And so now what is next for Visionary Philanthropy Group? How can folks support your mission? Do you have a website so people can learn more?
Yes, absolutely. Our website is www.vpgrp.org. And right now, what's next? We're about to start our Grow with Google Career Certificate scholarships in person, because it's a 6-month online course. And also, I wanted to say, we started last year, and up till now, we have distributed over 45 Grow with Google Career Certificate scholarships in Trenton, New Jersey, where I'm from, and all throughout the country. And we have had up to now 6 students that completed it. which are all from different parts of the country. And so we'll be doing 3 programs, in the Grow with Google Certificate Scholarships is one of them. We have some facilitators who are skilled in these 7 different career paths that will be there in person. We'll be having them 2 times per month. I mean, actually, excuse me, 2 times per week. And we'll be starting that sometime this month. We're on the verge of finalizing the dates with that. And also, we'll be having our Grow with Google Justice Impacted program. It's for everyone, in the community, but it's more geared towards returning citizens. For example, what this program entails is, as I said, is for people that has been impacted by the justice system. So we'll be teaching people how to use a cell phone. For example, people that are returning citizens, and just in case anyone doesn't know what returning citizens are, they're people, men and women, or young men and women returning home from prison or jail. We'll be teaching them how to use a cell phone, how to use Gmail, email. We'll have work readiness programs, how to create resumes, how to conduct themselves in job interviews, how to create a business plan, how to start a business, and a bunch of other tech skills that will, guide not just only returning citizens, but just people that want to, step their tech savviness up. And we'll be having that once a week as well. And then we also have our violence prevention and intervention programs, a program that I created. I have about 3 facilitators who are returning citizens as well, come with great experience. We also have a therapist also in this violence prevention and intervention program, and it's for young men and women ages 10 to 18. So that's what we have coming up.
Oh, so in other words, you don't have anything on your plate, is what you're saying. Oh my God, America needs about 1 million more of you, because again, like I said at the beginning of our interview, guidance. So to take someone who comes out of prison, you just let them flounder on the street. They will go back, because what else are they going to do to eat? They're going to go back to challenges. You show them a way, and I mean, they will find that way and succeed. My father used to say, if so many of these prisoners, if they only applied their knowledge to doing something, yeah, but they don't have the opportunity. You're showing them the door. This is the way to go. If you go through that door, you'll have success and you won't go to jail. And you're doing that, man. You are just awesome. What a wonderful.
Thank you,
well, you are. What a contribution to our society. Yenin Baker, please promise me you're going to come back. We want you on again and again. I want to hear how this progresses. All right?
Yes, absolutely, Ken. And last, before I leave, I just want to say, through my journey, as being the founder and CEO of Visionary Philanthropy Group, Inc., there's been some backlash and struggle trying to, get exposure for Visionary Philanthropy Group, Inc. So, I would just like, just to just tell the universe it's time to pass the baton, and, so that I can be able to, influence and motivate the youth and adults as well, because for example, no disrespect to the Knicks fans, but you see, Reggie Miller was a superstar, a very motivation to an influence to the Indiana Pacers, right? If you see, those young men were motivated and influenced by Reggie Miller, which made the first game. Those young men came back in about 1 minute, right? And that was Reggie Miller's style. Right, either he coached them or they were influenced and motivated by watching him. So it's the same thing with me. If I can get more exposure and get the more exposure for the youth to either watch me or come to my programs and be a part of the things that I'm having, then I can have, more opportunity to create more impact. So I just wanted to say, it's time to pass the baton. And I just want, all organizations and all great people to, get in touch with me so that, we can continue to make impact. You can, come out to help us volunteer, help make some donations, or just help support us in any way possible, because we need all the help we can get, Ken.
Amen. I hear you. And this is, you want a great future and a great future for New Jersey and America. That's the way to do it. You got to show guidance. Unfortunately, our public schools all too often have let everybody down. And there's 100 reasons. It's no one reason and no one person. But when kids come out, they got to know there's a path. They have to have guidance. And you're one of the stellar examples. Yenin Baker, we're out of time. Founder and CEO of Visionary Philanthropy Group. Go online, find Yenin, work with him, and Yenin, please come back. All right. Thank you for joining us this morning, my friends. Good to have you on.
Ken. I appreciate it. It's an honor.
Likewise. Thank you, sir. It is now 56 degrees. 7:50 is our time. Hazy sunshine today. Highs around 90. Pam, let's forego the break. Let's go straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta. If we can get Mike in there. I knew he was going to be there. We're wondering if Mike was ready to go. Of course, Mike, for those who don't realize, Mike's head is down out of the camera. It's working on here. All of a sudden, I see the head pop up right into the shot. So we
had to get the second macchiato to keep up with your level of energy this morning, Ken, because it's Wednesday. It's one of those days. It's yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Salute, salute. There you go with the macchiato.
Chin.
Delicious. Enjoy. So you could literally feel, even with the AC on, you could feel the humidity levels increasing today.
You can, and it's going to feel very humid, even more so than right now, by tomorrow afternoon. And that's all due to that southwesterly wind pushing in more humidity, and the heat, the sunshine will be blazing by then. We get a lot of sun today as temperatures climb into the mid and upper 80s, likely touching 90 in spots. There from Hackettstown and back over through Morristown, Wayne, 87 degrees, and 85 for you in Jersey City. With that heat and humidity continuing to build into this afternoon and tomorrow, I think there'll be some extra clouds by Friday, but otherwise relatively sunny. And even with the slightly drier than average conditions, there is no more droughts across New Jersey due to the buckets of rain that have fallen over the state over the last month or so. So going forward into the middle of June now, this goes to June 18th, you see this orange color showing above average temperatures into the middle of the month. And that will likely keep us toasty around here, even with slightly above average chances of rainfall through the second week of June. While there will be some heavy rain developing for Saturday, I think overall it's a pretty dry forecast until then. We'll keep it sunny around here through tomorrow. Friday brings in some clouds, specifically in the afternoon. The rain is predominantly at night, and then Saturday has mostly cloudy and rainy conditions pretty much all day long. Sunday quickly brings back the sunshine, so the weekend is not a washout. We get plenty of clear sky on Sunday, those dry, refreshing northwesterly breezes, even enough of a northwesterly wind to prevent a sea breeze at the coast, and that'll actually keep the beaches a little bit warmer. Notice how we jump into the upper 70s. It's the warmest day on the 7-day on Sunday at the beaches, so it'll look really pretty there. So if you're planning for any outings this weekend, Sunday is looking great. Again, very warm and humid throughout tomorrow and Friday down by the beaches. Rain on Saturday, and then we're back to sunshine by Sunday and Monday. So overall, a pretty looking forecast ahead, and a very summer-like one going into the last few days of spring, Ken.
Oh, and spring is my favorite season because of the anticipation of summer. It's funny how you anticipate something, and then when summer comes, I'm excited. But after a couple of weeks of summer, I actually start to get blue because I think of fall coming next. Isn't that weird? It's like just be in the moment and enjoy the summertime. But I'm always thinking ahead. I guess that's a problem. I'll go take my meds again, Mike. I appreciate it. All right, buddy. We'll check back with you. Thank you, sir. It is 56 degrees now, 7:54. And let's check traffic. We do have a lot of, literally everywhere, every roadway we're looking at. I can go an hour on traffic. We won't do that, though. Take a look at mile marker 148.5. This is north of exit 147 on the Garden State Parkway. This is in East Orange, just heavy traffic. That split there, one side goes off to Newark Airport, by the way, and that's what you got on the left. And that's where you have a lot of traffic building up going to Newark. I think a lot of people are trying to get out of Dodge. And we've been seeing this for the Newark exits. We also have a crash investigation, Route 9 northbound north of 35 in South Amboy with all lanes closed. We have a crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound north of 13A, which is, again, the Newark Airport exit. 1 and 9 in Elizabeth, 2 left lanes blocked there. Crash on 280 eastbound east of Orange Street, which is exit 13 with the left lane blocked. Roving repairs Route 130 northbound on Cooper Street, Willingboro Township to Florence Columbus Road, Mansfield Township with the left lane blocked. And we have about a 25-minute in time at the Lincoln Tunnel, 20 minutes at the Holland. Take a look at the 8095 approach, starting to build up to about 40 minutes now. The lower level on the left, that's heavier than the upper level on the right. 7:55. And from the why is this group doing this department? And I speak now as a gay man, okay? From the liberal protesting gays in Minneapolis, look at what they did yesterday. They decided to celebrate Pride Month by blocking a key bridge yesterday while shouting sexual obscenities. To my friends who are gay, you do not win over hearts and minds and souls of people by shouting disgusting obscenities that have to do with sex, because that then identifies your homosexuality strictly on the basis of sex. Okay, and there's a lot more to you than that. So grow up. And I speak again as a gay man who is married. This little move, by the way, look at what it did to the bridge. It blocked traffic for miles, and it forced an ambulance that was rushing to get to a heart attack victim. It forced that ambulance to drive 20 minutes out of its way to try to save somebody's life. So if the left thinks this little stunt is going to win over people, reconsider. It doesn't work like that. Okay. It is 7:56. The head of United Airlines says Garden Staters looking for travel bargains this summer should fly through Newark Airport. United CEO Scott Kirby recently highlighted upcoming lower airline prices, alluding to a May 20th order from the FAA that temporarily reduced the arrival and departure rate of planes at Newark, making the airport less crowded and dropping the demand for flights. Kirby also noted that flights will run much more smoothly after a series of issues plagued Newark through April and May, from technology problems to a shortage of air traffic controllers and construction plans that ended up closing one of the 3 airport runways for many weeks. They ended up reopening it 13 days early, thanks to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and some very hardworking individuals. The airline boss predicts that Newark Liberty will be the most reliable of the area's 3 major airports this summer because of the changes that were implemented. And summertime weather's here. That means a lot more people will spend their days and evenings in the backyard, maybe around a fire pit. Well, listen carefully to what happened to one New Jersey family. A 10-year-old girl and another person got severely injured while 4 others were burned in an accident involving a fire pit table at a family gathering in Cherry Hill. What you're looking at there is not the actual fire pit table. We're just showing you in this case what could happen when you put lots of fire starter in the fire pit. It can get out of control. And this family, the whole family ended up getting injured. 2 people are in critical condition, and the incident remains under investigation. But just please be careful using a fire pit. You think, it's outside, who's going to get hurt? All you need is a little bit of wind and people a little too close to a fire pit, and you get really hurt. That ended up blowing onto people's clothes. They ended up catching fire. So be very careful when you do that. Have fun, but just be careful. How much money does your school superintendent make? Apparently a lot. It seems New Jersey superintendents took home an average salary of $200,000 and that happened last year. Statewide, the average superintendent salary rose 2% in 2024 to 2025 versus the previous year. Back then it was $194,000. We have 521 full-time school superintendents in the state of New Jersey, as opposed to many other states who have way less. We have hundreds of school superintendents, and then we have like hundreds of assistant principals when you really only need 1 or 2. State of Florida, where I live part-time, most schools only have a principal and an assistant principal. That's it. They don't have 22 assistant principals in charge of this and in charge of that. Just have 1 assistant principal that gets the high salary. You don't need to have 10 because that's money out of everybody's pocket. And have you heard of the Chromebook challenge? School districts throughout the country are warning students against attempting the dangerous TikTok trend because it could cause serious injury and also damages school property. It's also known as the Chromebook durability test. Kids apparently shove paper clips into the USB port of their school-issued laptops for the thrill of seeing the sparks, because kids do that. Don't do it, though. If you're a parent, tell your kid, don't do it. You're going to damage the property and you could end up hurt. So please have a conversation with your child. Tell them not to do that. It is not funny and you could end up getting hurt. 7:59, when we come back, families with children who develop cancer can feel alone. We're going to talk with one group to make sure, or they make sure, that others have all the support they need when they're in that circumstance. Plus, we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Hazy sunshine today, highs about 90. The full Garden State forecast in a moment. You're watching ONNJ Mornings, and we are coming right back. Very good morning to you. It is 8 a.m., Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Hazy sunshine today from the particulate matter in the air from the wildfires up in Canada. Highs today approaching or around 90. We head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. I misspoke before when I said that the smoke particles reflect the sunlight. They actually scatter the sunlight. It's called a Rayleigh scattering. It was a British scientist back in the 19th century that figured out why the sky is blue. Those Rayleigh scattering that's happening across our sky. So a little.
I'm glad you corrected that. You know what, Mike? Because I just made a note to myself, pull him aside and tell him that, of course I'm kidding.
Just
No,
rip
I
those
always learn
credentials
something.
away.
Yes, I'll always be in want of my junior weather badge, but please continue, sir. I'm so sorry.
Yes, Rayleigh and me scattering. It's like week 3 in the lecture series, which is still somewhere on Blackboard in Kane University's database. But yeah, they're all there. And the lectures are still online on YouTube. Hours long, hours of, I think there's, it's a 45 hours to credit class. So yeah, there's 45 hours of me blabbing on about the weather. But today we'll give you like 45 seconds. How about that? Our forecast looking pretty decent this afternoon. Lots of sunshine, lots of heat and humidity. Not as hot as tomorrow, though. It gets much warmer from New Brunswick and Roosevelt. Today, climbing into the upper 80s and low 90s. But it's the heat and humidity combined that will make it feel much warmer tomorrow, especially with the southwesterly breeze. Grasses and weeds back to the moderate level because we're in the thick of that pollen season. And as the rain moves in from the west, not arriving here until Friday, we get plenty of beautiful sunshine with a UV index of an 8, which is very high. See, the espresso is now catching up after having that macchiato shot on air. Plenty of clear sky for the next few days until Friday. So this is the front that will ultimately give us our rain by the time Saturday arrives, and it takes its time arriving here. So it's a slow trot across the Midwest, which is why we get our warm weather tomorrow and early Friday. Temperatures in the low and mid 90s by tomorrow afternoon. A few passing fair weather cumulus clouds, the haze, the humidity builds, and then more clouds by Friday evening, even with the threat of a quick late afternoon shower or sprinkle. But I think overall, most of the rain comes in on Saturday. Dew points, or the temperature where the air is saturated, shows the shade of green, which is real humid weather, moving back in throughout late tomorrow and especially for Friday. Anytime that dew point or the number is up around 70, that's like Miami humidity, really tropical in nature, and that will arrive by Friday night into Saturday. The futurecast just keeps clouds around for most of Friday evening with a chance of a sprinkle, but the best opportunity for some steady wet weather comes in on Saturday and even lasts through Saturday afternoon. So most of the daylight hours Saturday looking quite wet, and it'll just feel quite warm and steamy with highs up around 80 degrees. We clear out by Sunday. It's a beautiful second half of the week, and Monday is gorgeous with nice clear air, sunshine, low humidity. It'll feel great, and then the potential is there for some storms later on for Tuesday into Wednesday as our next front pushes through, clearing the way by Thursday. As far as this weekend, we start off very wet and cloudy, temperature of 77, but we climb to near 80 with less humidity and sunshine by Sunday. It's looking great, Ken, for the second half of the weekend.
Less humidity tastes great. Less humidity tastes great. I love it. Thank you very much. Remember the old commercial now. I'm probably just talking
Fewer
to
calories,
myself.
too.
That's true. So you do remember. Thank you.
I do.
And by the way, Mike, I stood awake during that entire lecture series. I'll have you know. I was
okay.
hog-eyed.
I fell asleep at points. I would even poke my students and see if they were listening. Like, hey, James, you there? Yeah, I have a question for you.
Ask them what was on the third slate of the blackboard at the very top.
I was one of
Let's
those
see what they say.
professors that would allow you to keep your camera off because I didn't want to. Like, why do I need to see your face? You know, you're the student, you're the adult taking the lecture. If you do poorly on the exam, I think we all know why.
It's passive aggressive. I like that about you. All right, Mike. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. We will check. By the way, you know what, Mike? Stay on for 1 second. We were talking about the particulate matter in the air and the scattering and versus. Okay, take a look at this. This is an example of that. Look at the air. Look at
Wow,
that
that is some pretty
funkiness in the
poor air
air.
quality.
So there you go. So especially if you have breathing issues, if you have asthma, or if you have COPD, I'm guessing you probably want to bring your inhaler, and or if you have COPD, you may need to bring your oxygen tank, and you may want to bring an N95 mask because that is serious particulate matter. So I appreciate you talking about that. But thank you, Mike. We'll check back. Yeah, this is mile marker 149.2 southbound north of exit 148 in Bloomfield. And that's what that is right there. The traffic is moving, but you could see exactly what Mike was talking about. All that kind of smoke in the air. And that is actually making its way all the way here from Canada. And we're not even talking about Eastern Canada. It's northern western. So it's coming about 3,000 to 4,000 miles. It blew into us, and it's making its way all the way down to Virginia. That's how much this is, the wildfires in Canada. And by the way, if I could throw in politics, that is a lot. Like the reason that's happening there, it's just like in California, because they no longer clear their dead brush. They used to have, when we used more paper back in the day before these devices, they used to cut down a lot of those trees. And for every tree they cut down, the environmentalists would go crazy. They would plant 6 more. Well, guess what? When we stopped cutting down all the trees and we had those 6 more, now we have huge forests, and they're not thinning them as necessary, and as a result, they get hit by lightning. The lightning causes forest fires, and this is what happens every year now. You notice Canada is burning out of control, just like California. That's because of poor forest management, because many people, sorry to say, many people on the left who are environmentalists refuse to cut down the dead and older growth trees because they look so nice and they help the uni bird, and that's what you get. So it impacts Earth in a bad way. Talk about carbon emissions? That's carbon emissions way more than you're going to get with cars. Just saying. It is 56 degrees at 8:07. We also have a crash now in the Garden State Parkway northbound entering exit 58, which is down in Little Egg Harbor Township. All lanes are open, but that's causing issues. Crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound north of 13A by Newark Airport. All lanes are open, vehicles on the right shoulder. And right now we have a 30-minute crossing time of the Lincoln, 25 of the Holland, and look at the upper lower levels of 8095 approach to the GWB. Starting to pick up there in terms of traffic on the right side. That's the upper level now, 35 to 40 minutes over, about 30 minutes at the lower level on the left. It is 8:07 when Landing, New Jersey mom Alyssa Adonis's 9-year-old son Matthew was diagnosed with a rare type of brain cancer. Her family felt overwhelmed and alone, as you can imagine. Well, today, thank God, Matthew is a thriving high school junior, and Alyssa is using her experience to help others as one of the first peer mentors with Hopeful Hearts, a new national program from Chester-based Cancer Hope Network. Joining us now are Alyssa Adonis and Beth Blakey, Executive Director of Cancer Hope Network. Both of you, welcome. It's good to have you on this morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
You bet. And Alyssa, let's start with you. Share, please, Matthew's diagnosis story. I can't even envision the stress, the terror that you feel as a parent. How old was he, and when did you first suspect that something was wrong?
So Matthew and his twin sister were 9 years old. They were in summer camp, and Matthew got hit in the head with a dodgeball, and he threw up. And so immediately everybody was thinking a dodgeball, he must have a concussion. Took him to the doctors. They checked him out. No concussion, just a fluke. Another day or two goes by. He wakes up in the morning. He throws up again. And I knew immediately as his mom, I don't know. I just had a gut that something was wrong. And then I took him to the doctors, and they're like, he's fine. There's no concussion. He might just have a bug. They kind of just didn't think it was anything serious. And another day or so goes by, and he threw up again in the morning. And at that point I was like, okay, something's wrong, and brought him back. And that just spun into a series of very quick appointments with doctors, turnaround, MRI. And if in a blink of an eye, we were in New York City getting ready for brain surgery. Happened very, very quickly.
Terrifying. And you almost have the getting hit in the head incident to thank, right? Or
We do.
maybe or maybe not, but that kind of woke up that maybe there's something we need to investigate further. But thankfully he's okay now. And he's what, 16, 17 now?
So Matthew is 17 now. He's a straight A student, having a great
Amen.
junior year. He's got his license, got his first car, working out daily. He was an avid ice hockey player before all of this. And as soon as treatment was over, he got right back on the ice. I mean, he was like 50 pounds soaking wet, was playing for 2 teams, got his first goal in September, not even a month back, a couple weeks back on the ice. So, that was a huge milestone for him too, getting back on that ice. That was our inspiration.
By the way, a new cancer study that we just had out the other day shows people who become athletic after they are treated and in remission from cancer have a 35% greater rate of not having a recurrence of the cancer, better rate than taking medication. So the fact that he is athletic is a great thing for his future. That's awesome. Beth,
That's
I want to
awesome.
talk to you also. Yeah, so fingers crossed. God bless him. Beth, what is the mission behind Hopeful Hearts and how is it different from other support programs?
Sure. So the Hopeful Hearts program is an initiative of Cancer Hope Network. We're a national nonprofit organization based in Chester. We're actually homegrown as a New Jersey organization. We were founded by an incredible oncology nurse out of Overlook Hospital in Summit. We've been around for almost 45 years now, and the Hopeful Hearts program is a really important initiative that matches people whose children are currently going through a cancer diagnosis with trained peer mentors like Alyssa, who have been there and whose children are on the other side of their diagnosis. And the idea behind this program is to fill a critical gap in the cancer care ecosystem for parents who don't necessarily have the resources available to them through their children's hospital. So that's really what makes us unique. We're not attached to a specific hospital. This program is available to any parent, any caregiver, any guardian of a child who's going through a pediatric or adolescent cancer diagnosis.
And Beth, this was specifically geared as a version specifically for parents, right? So it's not necessarily
Correct.
just not for the patient, but for the parents because they're the caretakers and they need the help.
Exactly. It is so hard to ask for help when you're a caregiver. I was a caregiver to my mom when she was going through cancer, and it was so difficult to admit that I needed help. It is that much more difficult when you're a parent caring for a child going through a diagnosis. So this really was a gap in that ecosystem of care for caregivers, and parents really were looking for this type of support. We were very fortunate to be supported by a family whose own child experienced a pediatric cancer diagnosis and really believed in the work we were doing overall and helped us to get this program off the ground. So the program is available now to parents who are looking for support, and we have a incredible group of peer mentors who are trained across the country, and we're growing that program exponentially over the course of the last 6 months and going forward. So if you're a parent who has been there, whose child is a cancer survivor and looking for a way to give back, this is an incredible way to do so.
And Alyssa did that, right? Alyssa, when did you decide to become a peer mentor?
So looking back on our journey, I will say that what saved me as a parent during the journey is being introduced informally, because there was no formal program, to other families who were ahead of us on the journey. And I will say this over and over again, they have saved my life countless times helping us through the journey. They were ahead of us. I since then became that kind of informal person to other families, and these families and I, we've become very, very close. They're part of my family now. So when I heard about Hopeful Hearts, I was so excited that there was something finally that, people can find easily, that it wasn't just by accident, that could really get support from the people who understand the most, right? I mean, when you're going through this journey as a parent, nobody can really truly understand what you're feeling and what you're going to somebody who's been there. So being able to be a peer mentor, for the last 7 years since Matt's diagnosis and treatment has ended, I've been looking for a way to give back, and Hopeful Hearts is like, I couldn't think of anything better. And I'm so excited to be a part of this community.
You know, looking at a lot of hospitals, they have advocates, patient advocates, but not every hospital, as Beth was saying, not every hospital has a program per se. But the nice thing about this, it's like a portable program, right? So Hopeful Hearts is there no matter where you are, no matter what hospital. Do all the patient advocates know to recommend Hopeful Hearts to parents who are going through this, or is it something that we're in the process of letting them all know that?
We are in the process of letting everybody know that this program is here, that it's available. We just launched it officially yesterday, actually, but we've been growing our mentor base for 6 months now so that we have enough people who are there to provide the support. And what's really important for the families who are taking part in this program, and also for hospitals who are interested in sharing this program with their parent community, is that all of our peer mentors go through an extensive training program to be able to provide support in a way that's safe, not just for the support seeker, for the parent who's looking to connect, but for the peer mentor themselves, because those parents are still on their journey. They're just further down the road, and they're caring for their child in post-treatment survivorship, which might not look like they expected their parenting journey to look like. So we want to make sure that we're providing them with the tools, the resources, and the education to provide this support in a way that's safe. And our programs team, which is made up of social work and healthcare professionals, is there to support them every step of the way.
That's amazing. I mean, nobody knows more about the journey than parents who've been through it, and to offer that help, and just to let the parents who are just starting the encounter, to let them know that, you know what, we went through that. There's a way, don't worry about it. This is the tough time. Or if it's a first round of chemo, it's going to be bad the first few weeks. Just having someone there you could talk to who's been through it, and even how to counsel your child through the process. God bless you guys, both of you ladies, excuse me, generic term of guys, forgive me for that. Hopeful Hearts, what a wonderful program. How do people connect? What's a website for people to find out more information?
Sure. So people can connect with us online. Our website is cancerhopenetwork.org, and the specific link for the Hopeful Hearts program is cancerhopenetwork.org/hopeful-hearts.
All right. Alyssa Adonis and Beth Blakey. Alyssa, our best to your son. All the best. I hope is he still playing hockey?
Unfortunately, he's had late stage effects of his chemo on his hips, but like I said, he's working out every day. He's living life. He's thriving. And, you know, as my Matt would say, never, ever give up. So I just want to get that message out there, because we've lived our journey through always having hope. We kept hope in our hearts, and we never gave up. So all the best to all the families out there that are going through this journey.
And to your family as well. Alyssa Adonis, Beth Blakey, thank you for that. Beth Blakey, Executive Director of Cancer Hope Network. Thank you both for joining us. And please come back again. Let us know how the program continues to advance. We appreciate you.
Wonderful. Thank you,
so
Ken.
much, Ken.
You bet. Have a great day. It is 56 degrees, 818 right now. Hazy sunshine today. Highs about 90. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full Garden State forecast, and we'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 819 now. It's 56 degrees, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Hazy sunshine today. Highs around 90, humid too. Some particulate matter in the air. You can hear it in my voice. Here's meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Mike, I know a lot of people who are having breathing issues. Yesterday, like my mother said it. She said, I feel something, I feel a little heavy. And I was like, did you look outside? You know, a lot of people don't
Yeah.
realize it, that's you're breathing a little bit of that particulate matter with every breath,
Sure.
and it just builds up in your lungs.
It does. By the end of the day, I too, you felt a little bit of congestion, like a cough. And you're like, what is that? And for likely that particulate matter, all of that wildfire smoke moving into New Jersey today, and it sticks around through this afternoon, prompting the Department of Environmental Protection to issue that air quality advisory through this afternoon. So with the hazy sunshine, with the pretty still air, the air quality turns poor through this afternoon. As humidity builds, it's kind of adding insult to injury. It doesn't quite clear out until we get to Friday and Saturday with those showers that end out the work week. The forecast today down the shore, you can get a little bit of a breath of fresh air at the beaches with a wind off of the water. Temperatures today climbing only into the mid and upper 70s, upper 80s inland, especially west of the Parkway. Turns quite warm and humid away from the coast. So here's the look of where the wildfire smoke is across the state and where it's coming from. Still over northern sections of Canada, moving in down across upstate New York, across Pennsylvania, and here into New Jersey through this afternoon. That's lowering air quality, specifically for the northwestern corner of the state. Anytime that number is above 100, that means the air is unhealthy for sensitive groups, and that's going to be the case today. Could even go higher as the new information comes in. Air quality really only forecasts accurately about 18 to 24 hours out. Beyond that, it's clear across our skies. We're dry through tomorrow, rain-wise, but throughout Friday, yeah, I believe this. This just updated. We went from a 60% chance of rain to a 70% chance on Saturday. It's going to be quite wet and looking pretty much like a washout for Saturday, especially during the late morning and early afternoon. But Sunday clears out nicely with drier weather on tap that will also again return the air quality to better numbers. Here's a look at the future cast showing the clear sky that takes over through this afternoon, brings back the hazy sunshine into the end of the day, and then some clouds arrive by tomorrow ahead of the front. That's the front that was supposed to clear us out, but it won't because our rain system moves in for Saturday, providing some wet weather all day long. And then when that front pushes on by, we clear out for Saturday night into Sunday, and Sunday's looking very pleasant. Lots of sunshine to start off the second half of the weekend. So while the 7-day forecast is quite humid, cloudy, warm throughout the end of the week, especially for Friday, we turn a little bit cooler for Saturday, 77, rain throughout the day, but Sunday clears out beautifully, less humidity, highs in the upper 70s, and sticks around that sunshine and mild weather through Monday. Thursday and Friday tomorrow down the shore, very warm. By Friday, the clouds return, rain on Saturday, but Sunday is actually quite warm because of a northwesterly breeze, thanks to the front clearing us out. That'll prevent much of a sea breeze, meaning it'll be quite warm on the beaches on Sunday, making it a great beach day. Monday and Tuesday sees the clear sky with some rain in the forecast later on next week. So overall, looking like a summery forecast, Ken, with heat, humidity, a thunderstorm here and there. Very quintessential June.
That's almost H cubed. That's an H squared plus a thunderstorm. H squared TS. Yeah, we're using all the code. It's like working in a diner. I'll take 2 over easy. You know, you got to have code words. All right. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. It is 56 degrees right now at 8:23. Let's take a look at some of the traffic cams. This one is on the Garden State Parkway, mile marker 147.0, exit 145. And this would be in the vicinity of East Orange. That's I-80 east and west. You see right there at the split. So the people in the trafficy area on the right, they're all going toward Newark Airport. Oh, this is a different shot. Sorry, Pam. Pam, do you have the 147.0 exit 145 Sussex Avenue overpass? We'll wait because I want to show you. Pam's like, oh, you didn't say that. Okay, you're right. You're right. I probably didn't because I'm old. Sussex overpass? Well, this is what I have. Oh my God. See, that's what I'm talking about there, Pam. Well, there you go. Oh, I didn't say Sussex. I'm sorry. Sussex, 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 Sussex. There we go. Now I've said it. So those people on the right are going, you're probably saying, what is he talking about? Well, there's no traffic here. Those are the folks there on the right trying to make their way to Newark Airport. And the people who are like bypassing and getting out of the lane and going left are probably saying, I'll never make my flight. So they're the ones shooting off. But this is in East Orange vicinity. All right. We do have other traffic too to talk about. On 280, we have a crash westbound east of exit 7, Pleasant Valley Way in West Orange. 2 left lanes of the 3 lanes closed, so that's causing a lot of delays. We have a crash on the GSP northbound north of Colonia service area, Woodbridge Township. All lanes are open, but very slow. Crash on the Turnpike inner roadway northbound north of interchange 13A by Newark Airport again. All lanes are open on 1 and 9. Vehicles on the right shoulder, though. This is on the Turnpike itself. And a crash on the Garden State northbound, a little further south of what we were looking at, a bit further south, actually. This is GSP northbound entering exit 58, Little Harbor Township. All lanes are open, but very heavy coming in. Crash investigation right now on Route 9 northbound, north of Route 35 in South Amboy with all lanes closed. And we have a crash on 280 eastbound, east of exit 13, Orange Street. And there are 2 lanes closed there. Finally, roving repairs Route 130 northbound from Cooper Street in Willingboro Township to Florence Columbus Road in Mansfield Township with the left lane closed. 8095 approach to the GWB right now, actually not as bad as usual. It's moving slowly, albeit, but moving. It's about a 35 to 40 minute in time, upper and lower levels, upper on the right, lower on the left. And the Lincoln is about 25 minutes in and 20 minutes at the Holland. 825, if you had any doubt that conservatism always works, and it always works when tried properly, check out what's happening in Argentina with Trump ally President Javier Milei, the guy with the goofy hair. Argentina's economic growth projection has surged to over 8% year to year for the month of April. That's an upward trend that has gone up from 5.6% to 6% to 6.7% in the months prior. So all the leftist socialists, there are tons of socialists down in Argentina. Remember, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. That was back in the days of socialist dictatorships. All the socialists destroyed the economy there, literally devalued their peso to near nothing. Along comes a conservative in the picture of Trump, and in literally a few months, their economy is flipped on its head. They had some austerity, they had to cut back sharp, but now the economic growth is 8%. That's one of the highest economic growths year to year of any country on the planet because of conservatism. It is a market-led economy attributed to Milei's policies since December 2023, reversing decades of economic stagnation in that South American nation. Meanwhile, by the way, we should also mention Argentina reduced child poverty by 1.7 million last year, despite implementing one of Latin America's most aggressive fiscal reforms. It's just amazing what it's done. This is just when you apply conservatism. So right now, Argentina is a place you want to go if you're going to move to South America. The national urban poverty rate plummeted from 53% down to 38% in 6 months, while extreme poverty is in half, down to 8.2%, marking the sharpest decline in decades. Meanwhile, right next door in Brazil, much larger country albeit, but in Brazil, they are suffering under a liberal socialist regime. And the conservative who used to lead Brazil is trying to get back in office. So take a lesson from right next door. You see how conservatism works in Argentina. You're right next door in Brazil, where your money is devalued. Think about it. 827, yesterday, federal authorities in Detroit announced charges against a Chinese scholar at the University of Michigan and her boyfriend, a scientific researcher, for allegedly conspiring to smuggle a dangerous biological pathogen into the U.S. It was a pathogen capable of damaging agricultural crops and causing illness in humans and livestock. University of Michigan scholar Yongqin Zhan and her boyfriend Junyon Liu, both Chinese citizens and both having to report to the Chinese Communist government, were charged in a criminal complaint with conspiracy, smuggling goods into the U.S., making false statements, and visa fraud. Zhan allegedly received Chinese government funding to work on the dangerous pathogen in China and then brought it over here. That pathogen is a fungus called Fusarium graminearum, which can cause head blight. That's a disease that affects wheat, barley, corn, and rice. Literally, you could destroy the entire crop. And if you eat any of the grain that has head blight, you can get very sick. This is responsible for billions of dollars in economic losses worldwide each year. The fungus can cause a human to vomit, have liver damage, and reproductive defects, also livestock that eat the grain. Ford Motor yesterday reported a 16.3% year-over-year U.S. sales increase for May as the automaker continues an employee pricing program amid rising tariff costs and vehicle price increases. So the company employees think so much of the car that they're taking advantage of a program, and they're all getting rid of their old cars and buying the product they make, Fords. Sales for the Detroit automaker were led by a 17.2% increase in purchases of its vehicles that are traditional combustion engines as opposed to electric Fords. The electric Fords, they're down 25%. The only increase is the hybrid and the gas combustion engines. Hybrids went up 29%. The combustion engines went up 23%. It's the electric cars that went down. Nobody's buying them. So even the state of New Jersey, you could put all those green Apple charging facilities up all you want. People don't want their electric vehicles. They want their traditional combustion engines. And liberals being liberal, a group of gays, and I'm gay, so don't be offended. A group of gays trying to celebrate Pride Month in Minneapolis decided the way to do it was to block the principal bridge that connects Minneapolis and St. Paul, while shouting sexual obscenities and exposing themselves to people. That's a good way to win over parents with little kids. Their little move blocked traffic for miles. It forced an ambulance to drive 20 minutes out of the way as it was rushing to save a heart attack victim. If the left thinks stunts like that will help, think again, because it certainly will not. And that's how you get people killed. Yet they think that that's the way people will realize that they matter. No. It is 56 degrees now, 8:30. The phone lines are open. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says hazy sunshine, humid today, highs around 90. He'll be back with a full Garden State forecast in a moment. We're coming right back. Pam, we never used that one. Why is it? Surprise. Pam says, surprise, saving it, right, for a rainy day. But today's sunny. 8:31, good morning. It's Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, 56 degrees. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Hazy sunshine today. Highs about 90. Lots of particulate matter in the air, even though we have humidity. That particulate matter from the wildfires in Canada, for those of you who don't speak French. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the detailed Garden State forecast, and Mike will do it all in French.
No.
No.
The two French words I know.
No.
Yeah. Hey, we've got some great weather on the way. If you like summer, you like that summer heat, the summer humidity, what is better than weather like this? Oh, c'est la vie. Okay, maybe I know two phrases in French. 86 in Hackettstown, down toward Washington, 85 degrees this afternoon. It stays warm and humid. See, Ken, if we were to do the weather in French, it would have to be in degrees Celsius, so none of this would matter anyway. Our forecast this afternoon keeps our weather dry, but that's okay for the drought monitor, considering just how wet it's been over the last 2 weeks, more than 241% of rainfall. And also the rain would be in millimeters, so that would just really confuse everybody. No inches up there to our northern neighbor. Our forecast throughout this evening brings back plenty of clear sky throughout the next few days, and that'll keep the weather warmer than average across New Jersey, even with that warm weather through the middle of June, spreading across the Midwest. And here in New Jersey, I think we'll also see that warmth and maybe slightly above average wet weather going into the end of next week. 7-day forecast. Lots of sun, lots of heat, haze, humidity building through tomorrow. Rain later Friday night. I think we're dry most of the day, but the clouds increase through the afternoon. Saturday is just a washout and really can't see any redeeming quality about the lack of sun for Saturday. But Sunday brings a brilliant weather back. Lots of sun, drier weather, a lovely northwesterly breeze, and a high of 79. So that lovely weather sticks around in through Monday as well. The beaches looking beautiful throughout today. Tomorrow, more clouds on Friday. Saturday will be wet throughout the entire day. And then Sunday clears out nicely at the beaches as well with a high of 77. So that is a summertime feel down along the Jersey Shore this weekend.
All right, there you go. Go down the shore. Down the shore.
Mhm.
But that water temperature, surf temperature is only what, 60 something
It's in
degrees
the
right
60s.
now?
Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold. I'll bring you the tides. I have the tides with the water temperature. I'll show you that coming up. So there's a little tease for you.
And just for what it's worth, the water temperature right now in Fort Lauderdale, where all the New Jersey
Oh,
people go when they want warmer weather. It's
yeah.
81 in the water
Oh, is
down
it
in
that
Fort Lauderdale.
nice?
And that's
That's
considered
cool.
cold because they like
It
it at about
is.
84,
Yes.
85.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Just it never gets to be 85 even in August in New Jersey. But down there, if it's not 85 in June, they don't want to. It's beneath me. Anyway, thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate it, buddy. 834, 56 degrees. Take a look at this camera. This is the New Jersey Turnpike, mile marker 101.6, interchange 13A, which goes to both Newark Airport and the Elizabeth Seaport. And you can see the cars, again, all the cars going toward the airport right now. All those exits that we've shown you all morning, Garden State and Turnpike, have all been very heavy. So that just gives you an idea. It is the summer travel season. And if you head to the airport in the morning, you have to give yourself at least 30 extra minutes to travel because that is what you can encounter. We also have a crash on 280 westbound east of exit 7 Pleasant Valley Way in West Orange Township. 2 left lanes of the 3 lanes are blocked. We have a crash on the GSP northbound north of Colonia Service Area, Woodbridge Township. All lanes are now open, but again, we have heavy traffic through there. New Jersey Turnpike has a crash in the inner roadway northbound north of, this is just what we were just talking about, what we just showed you. So apparently it's because of a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike inner roadway northbound north of 13A so all lanes are open, vehicles are on the right shoulder. So that was causing what we just saw. Sometimes we get this information at the last second. Crash on the Garden State northbound entering exit 58 at Little Egg Harbor Township. All lanes are open but causing delays. And we have a crash investigation Route 9 northbound north of 35 in South Amboy with all lanes closed through there. Right now, we got a 25-minute in time at the Lincoln Tunnel, 20 minutes at the Holland. Take a look at 8095 approach to the GWB. You can see right now it's really getting heavy. On the right side, that's the upper level, lower level on the left. So it was moving pretty well like half an hour ago. And now we have lots of issues there, lots of delays. So you're talking about a 45 to 50-minute in time now just due to volume at this point on the New Jersey Turnpike approach to the GWB. It is 8:36. Hoboken announced plans to file a lawsuit against the FAA for what it calls dangerous helicopter activity. Mayor Ravi Bala says that people living in Hoboken are fed up with the constant noise and the safety risks caused by overhead tourist helicopters. The suit comes on the heels of a crash involving a sightseeing helicopter that went down in the Hudson River near Jersey City April 10th. That's Ravi Bala, the mayor of Hoboken. That crash we just referenced had all 6 people on board, family from Spain involved too, 5 from Spain and the helicopter pilot. All 6 were killed, as you recall, as that helicopter broke up in midair. The suspect accused of firebombing a gathering of pro-Israel demonstrators said that he turned to improvised explosive devices and Molotov cocktails after being denied the ability to purchase a firearm due to his immigration status. So many people on the left who say, we shouldn't have guns. People who are crazy and want to hurt you will find any way, whether it be rocks, Molotov cocktails, or IEDs. That's what this gentleman did. I use the term gentleman loosely. 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Soliman told detectives that he had taken a concealed carry permit class in preparation to buy a firearm, but he was blocked from completing the purchase because he is not a U.S. citizen. With access to guns restricted, the Egyptian national turned to YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. That's how he learned how to construct homemade firebombs. Why would you allow that video to stay on YouTube? So I think if you're YouTube, what benefit would you have in teaching someone how to make firebombs? Anyway, all you people who say that we need to get rid of guns and have gun control, he figured out a way around it. Just remember that. So it is 8:38. The head of United Airlines says Garden Staters looking to travel this summer. The best travel bargains too. Fly through Newark. United CEO Scott Kirby recently highlighted upcoming lower airline prices, alluding to a May 20th order from the FAA that temporarily reduced the arrival and departure rate of planes at Newark, making the airport less crowded and dropping the demand for flights. Well, Kirby also noted that flights will run much more smoothly now after that series of issues plagued Newark through April and May. Remember all the issues? We had technology problems, a shortage of air traffic controllers, and of course, they were working on one of the runways. They finally reopened that runway, the 11,000-footer, 13 days early. Pardon me. The airline boss predicts that Newark Liberty will be the most reliable of the area's major airports this summer because of all the changes that were made. Summertime weather is here. That means a lot more time in the backyard. Lots of people spending evenings around a fire pit. Listen to what happened to a family in New Jersey. A 10-year-old girl and another person suffered severe injuries while 4 others were burned in an accident involving their fire pit table at a family gathering in Cherry Hill. Now, this fire pit we're looking at is not the fire pit that we are talking about. We wanted to show you this fire pit because look what happens when you put too much fire starter in the fire pit. It could be very, very dangerous, and that fire can spread to the trees and to people's clothing. So if you are lighting a fire in a fire pit, don't go crazy with the fire igniter. All right, just put, the safest, the best thing to do, what I've done with fire pits, get one of those fire logs that you get for your fireplace that all you have to do is light the paper and it just burns gently. That's what you do in a fire pit. It's easy. It burns gently. It won't get out of control. But what you're looking at is an accelerant. And that's what apparently may have happened here. So now the whole family had to go to the hospital. 2 people are in critical condition because of their fire pit. How much does your school superintendent make in terms of salary? Apparently a lot in New Jersey. Seems New Jersey superintendents took home an average salary of about $200,000 during the most recent school year. Statewide, the average superintendent's salary rose 2% 2024 to 2025 when a lot of other people's salaries decreased. And that was compared to the previous year when the average superintendent made $194,000. So superintendents went from 194 to 200 while other people's salaries went down. There are 521 full-time school superintendents in the relatively small state of New Jersey versus fewer than 100 school superintendents in the much larger state of Florida. It's larger both geographically and in terms of population. So if they could, and their schools rank among the top in the country now. If the state of Florida with no state income tax can make it work better than us in New Jersey with only 100 school superintendents, and by the way, the high schools in Florida only have 1 vice principal, not 6 vice principals or 7 like we have in a lot of schools here. They have a principal and a vice principal. Why do we need 7 vice principals and 521 full-time school superintendents? New Jersey, think outside the box. Take a look at how others are doing it around the country and learn. If you want to cut taxes, that's how you do it. But you have to think outside the box. Stop voting for one political party only, and you'll learn. You want to save taxes? You want to not have your energy bills through the roof? Vote a different political party. It's your own fault, honestly. Have you heard of the Chromebook Challenge? School districts throughout the country are warning students against attempting this dangerous TikTok trend because it could cause serious injury and damage to school property. It's also known as the Chromebook Durability Test. The trend involves kids. They think they're having fun. They think it's goofy and fun. What they end up doing is potentially harming themselves. They can get electrocuted. They could be burned in a fire. What they're doing is sticking paper clips or screwdrivers into the USB ports of their school-issued laptops, which destroys the laptop and could potentially cause a fire and injure the student. So what you need to do is sit down and talk to your child today and say, if you see friends talking about it or hear friends talking about it or see it on TikTok, do not do it. You could hurt yourself or worse, and you could actually, you'll damage property, etc. The Garfield School District sent out something warning their parents and students about this, but everyone needs to know. Talk to your child about this. Pardon me. It is 8:42. A man has been indicted on first-degree murder charges after officials say he killed his Camden County girlfriend and stored her remains in a refrigerator that he then dumped into a southern New Jersey wooded area. Investigators believe the woman was killed about 5 months ago. Christopher Ryan Blevins was arrested about a month ago after 50-year-old Laura Hughes' body was found in Belle Plaine State Forest. Both Hughes and Blevins are from the community of Runnymede. On May 21st, Blevins was indicted for the killing. He was also charged with desecrating human remains. Officials say Blevins traveled across North America after the murder, even briefly staying in Mexico before returning to the U.S., where he was then arrested. And yesterday, Newark Mayor Ross Baraka sued federal officials for what he calls false arrest and malicious prosecution, following his arrest last month outside an immigration detention center on a trespassing charge. You notice before the gubernatorial primaries, you didn't hear a word about Ross Baraka. And since the primaries, and he announced that he was running for the Democrat side for governor, you can't get Ross Baraka out of the news. Just think about that. Anyway, the charge against him was later dismissed. The suit names acting U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba, and Ricky Patel, the special agent in charge of the Newark Division of Homeland Security Investigations, accusing the duo of defaming Baraka on social media before the trespassing charge was dismissed. Baraka is, of course, as mentioned, a Democratic candidate for governor. That primary is next Tuesday, but consider the circumstances. 8:44, imagine showing up for high school, being mugged in the parking lot, and that is exactly what happened to one student in Maplewood on Monday morning. It happened at Columbia High School's West Parker Avenue student parking lot. Police say an adult male student was approached by three young men wearing ski masks and dark clothing right there in the morning, right there in the middle of the parking lot as other kids are coming to school. The three assaulted the teen, took his cash and book bag containing his school laptop. The question is, where is school security? 8:45, it is 56 degrees. When we come back, a community needs to build affordable housing. They can't figure out where to put it. So what do? They want to take over a 175-year-old family farm by eminent domain and move the housing there. Nice, right? We'll talk to the family who owns that farm about what they plan to do next. Hazy sunshine today, highs near 90. We'll be back with the full Garden State forecast in a minute. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. We're coming right back. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 8:45, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Hazy sunshine, highs around 90. Humidity, though, and particulate matter in the air. I love those words, particulate matter. Should be a rock and roll group. The kids will love it, Mike. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning.
They would. That's a good one. Get you extra credit, for science class. And hey, we've got a garage band called Particulate Matter. I found those water temperatures for you, Ken, and it's chilly here in New Jersey. Yes, so we'll get to that in a sec. Even though it's nice and warm away from the coast, west of the Parkway today, from Glassboro and Camden, mid to upper 80s, approaching 90. It'll feel a little bit better down by the beaches, Atlantic City, 76 degrees, Ocean City, 77. Okay, here's the water temperatures, all holding at 64 degrees. That is chilly down there toward Atlantic City, Cape May, and Sandy Hook. High tides already happened earlier this morning, then they occur once more later on this morning. So a very pleasant feel down by the water, where you will notice a little bit of a more refreshing breeze helping to clear some of the air, because that wildfire smoke today comes from the north and west in the direction of those Canadian wildfires and predominantly works its way through northwestern New Jersey first before ultimately spreading across the state potentially by tomorrow. So there's a little bit of a southerly breeze off of the water helping to keep the coastal locations with slightly better air quality, but anytime that number is above 100, you could feel it in your chest, especially with the poor air quality developing. Much higher chances of rain throughout Saturday. That seems to be our day of wet weather as these soaking rains come in for the first half of the weekend. First, we enjoy all that sun, a little bit of haze and humidity developing tomorrow with more clouds by Friday. And then as that rain moves in, gives us a very soupy, soggy feel throughout the day Saturday before the front clears us out, drives in some pleasant weather with some clearer air, and I think that'll occur by Sunday afternoon. 7-day forecast has lots of heat, haze, and humidity. The H cubed, as Ken says, building in through tomorrow, and then the rain late Friday night gives us that soggy feel for Saturday. Sunday is nice and dry, beautiful even at the beaches with a pleasant feel developing as well. Saturday still has the shower activity at the beaches, but Sunday looking nice and dry, and one of the better days I think we've seen in a while, especially since the rain just seems to come in on weekends. But I think we'll clear it out just in time, Ken. Looking very pleasant for this weekend, at least by Sunday.
All right, thank you very much. I'm trying desperately to get a traffic cam to Pam, but she's setting up our next guest, so she's busy. So maybe you, Mike, you could set up my traffic cam. Would you mind?
Sure. Boop, 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 boop.
No, I'm just going to do it old school. That's what I'm going to do. This is what I was trying to communicate. So there we go, old school. And by the way, ignore my sympathy ploy here with the wrist brace. But Mike, I appreciate it. I know you got to go. Thank you so much for your day, and we will check in tomorrow, sir. Just
See you
watch out
tomorrow.
for particulate matter. You got it.
Yes.
It is 56 degrees now, 8:49. And what I'm showing you right there, that is the New Jersey Turnpike southbound, as you can see, I-95 Express. That's by mile marker 121.8. And what that is by the Vince Lombardi service area, Meadowland Sports Complex area. But that's extraordinarily heavy for this time of the day in that area. It's usually moving, not quite that congested. We have a lot of congestion on the roadways. We also have a crash on 280 westbound east of exit 7, Pleasant Valley Way, West Orange Township, 2 left lanes blocked or closed right now. And a crash on the Turnpike in a roadway northbound by interchange 13A in Elizabeth by the airport, all lanes open, vehicles on the right shoulder. We have about a 30-minute crossover time into Manhattan on the Lincoln Tunnel. It's 25 minutes of the Holland. And take a look at the 8095 approach to the GWB. You can see it is moving, but slowly, about 40 to 45 minutes into Manhattan. Upper level on the right, lower on the left. It is 8:50. The town of Cranberry is moving to seize the 175-year-old Henry family farm on South River Road through eminent domain to build affordable housing, sparking fierce opposition. Andy Henry, whose family has owned the land since 1850, is fighting to preserve its legacy. And joining us now is Andy and former mayor of Cranberry, Jay Taylor. Good to have you both on. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
You bet. Good morning. What gets me is I know eminent domain, and it is allowed, it's constitutional, but usually it's if you have to build a highway, if you have to build an electric power plant, if you have to build something that is a community benefit, that you have to use that particular piece of land or else the whole community is going to fall apart. Clearly, the city or the town doesn't want to put affordable housing in everybody's backyard. So they said, nobody's on that farm. They don't live there anymore. We're going to take over that land. Do I have it right?
Pretty much.
Dirt bags. And that's what I'm going to call them. My words, dirt bags. That is the slimy way out of it. And I'm talking right to the town council and to the new mayor of the town, not to the gentleman who's sitting here. That is a slimy way out of a predicament. Andy, your family's owned the farm since 1850. Share with us what this land means to you and your family and the community. And the history even survived the big fire in 1879 and the Great Depression.
That's correct. Yeah, we got it in 1850. My great-grandfather did. And they started growing potatoes, grain crops, apples, and they had horses and a dairy cow. And in 1879, the house burned to the ground. They saved hundreds of bushels of potatoes and some pork and hams and other provisions in the basement, and that was about it. The community got together. They had no insurance. It just ran out 2 days earlier. Community got together, supported us, and helped to get the house rebuilt in 1880. And we survived the Great Depression and some other crises, and then saved it from developers. And then here comes the town, much to my surprise. And I never saw that coming.
Yeah, and you've probably been one of the epicenter, beautiful points in the town. People come to a town like Cranberry to see something as beautiful as a farm like that. That's what makes it beautiful. And let's go to our former mayor here. And I have to normally I would just call you mayor, but I have to say former because I don't want you associated with the current regime that is causing this. Jay, you were mayor of Cranberry, so you're aware, I'm sure the back arguments, and I'm sure there have been attempts in the past to take over this property. So tell us some of the background from your perspective, having been the mayor of the town.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to be clear, we never tried to take over this farm. Actually, it was a farm that we wanted to preserve because it sits within a warehouse district, and it's important for the environment. What I think is important here as well is that this is a broader issue. The town is trying to put 266 affordable housing units here, and it is exclusionary, and it is 2 miles away from the town. But it's the broader issue that all the towns in the state are facing with right now, right? I mean, all the towns get these big mandates that are coming in with a flawed methodology, and we all believe affordable housing is good. It's just how it's applied at the local level is causing a lot of pain and angst, as we're seeing with Andy Henry.
And this is, it's sort of like dancing with the devil. A lot of communities around the country took federal money, right? Once you take the federal money from HUD, now you are obliged to do what they say. You are literally slaves to the federal government. And it all depends on who's in the federal government at the time. You got a more liberal administration, they're going to tell you put your affordable or low income housing right there in the middle of $2 million houses, because it's a class warfare thing. Let's just say what it is. Yes, we need affordable housing, but many on the left say, screw the rich. Let's put the free housing with poor people or families that maybe have challenges. Let's put it right in the middle of the $2 million neighborhood and lower everybody's property value. And on the other side, you have conservatives who do just the opposite. And they say, we're not going to build it. We took your money. We're not going to build at all. So I'm blaming both parties, by the way, for this. And so they kick the can down the road. And this looks like a nice, easy solution. It's not in the heart of town. It's out in the outskirts. Screw the farm owner. Let's take that over and let's throw the low income housing there. And that's really what this comes down to. It is a cheap way. When I say cheap, I mean cheap in terms of not nice way of having a solution. Therefore, it doesn't impact the other folks in town. But this farm is what makes a town like Cranberry the beautiful town that it is. And I know that your family spent, what, $200,000 to keep up this property.
Well, my brother and I officially inherited it about 10 years ago. And yes, that's what it takes to keep it going. And, we just want to keep it going. We have to pay the taxes, the insurance, repairs, all that kind of stuff. So we don't make any money off it. Our farmer who rents the land from us doesn't make any money off it. He does it because he loves it. And we keep it because we love it. And I think the town loves it. People like driving by there and seeing all the animals. They're pulling over to the side of the road to look at them because there's nothing like that around there anymore.
You know what? Last I checked, New Jersey's called the Garden State, right? And it's called the Garden State not because we have, affordable housing everywhere. Now, again, we need affordable housing. I'm with the former mayor. I agree with you 100%. You can't have everything be a $2 million home in every community, because the reality is it doesn't even have to be poor. You have kids come into the job market. They're only making $50,000 a year if they're lucky when they get out of school with $300,000, $400,000 in debt. They need a place to live too. So this impacts every family. But the question is, where do you plop it, as you said? Do you put it all in a wealthy neighborhood? Do you put it all on a farm 10 miles out of town? And I like to fault many of the local councils for kicking the can down the road and not saying, you know what, let's put a few affordable housing units here or there. The other thing too is, you correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, can't communities also put in veterans housing, which a lot of communities are a little more or a little less reticent to object to, as opposed to lower income housing?
Absolutely. And I'll be honest, I have an uncle who's on a waiting list, who's a veteran, and he's trying to get into the affordable housing. And we have in Cranberry, to your point, we've been doing very well, and our master plan calls for affordable housing that's dispersed throughout the community, so that people that get the affordable housing, the young families, the families that need that leg up, get that support environment. What the town council has done to meet the state mandates is said, hey, we have to put people in an exclusionary area that runs counter to the master plan. I don't think that they feel good about it, but it's the decision that they've made.
And the township, by the way, in their defense, they say because there's strict criteria like access to the sewer and water and 200-foot warehouse buffer, that limits their options. Well, guess what? You're the town council. If you're the town council, you could change those rules. You could give a zoning variance. So don't make it sound like it's like we'll create the rules that cause the problem, and then we have to follow these rules. Yeah, come on. Like we were all born yesterday. Have they talked about any compromise, like maybe taking over a small part of the farm as opposed to taking over the whole farm?
Well, I addressed that to the town council on May 5th, and I made it clear we weren't interested in selling anything, any part of it.
I can understand. You know what? We're down to the last 30 seconds. What can residents do to get behind you and support this? Because otherwise, New Jersey is going to lose all of its history and heritage. So what are you asking people to do?
Well, they're already doing it. I mean, it just took on a life of its own. And Jay helped us out a lot. It seems like the entire town is supporting us.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm for you. We're running out of time here, so we got to cut. I want you to come back and let us know how this progresses, because this is just patently unfair. It's not good for the town, it's not good for you, and it's just unfair as an American. So Andy Henry and former Cranberry Mayor Jay Taylor, good luck. Thank you for joining us this morning. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. 8:58 now. It's going to be sunny today and highs around 90. We'll see you again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Take care.